Alright, we've got a pack of animation stuff here from Acornwellian. Thank you for making this pack. This is weird and obscure animation history. So we're going to cover some of the history of animation. I'm going to be using the Blueprint soundtrack because it's just really good. Strange and obscure animation. So basically, they graduated with a degree in animation, and they had all this stuff that they had amassed. So they wanted to compile it and take us through some history, essentially. All right, so the first one is from 1908. It's Phantasmagory from Emil Cole or Emily Cole, I'm not sure. But arguably the first cartoon in history, Phantasmagory shows the medium in its most primitive form. I'm going to get a lot of stuff pronunciation-wise, like, really messed up. Sorry. Even before cartoons existed as we knew them today, the art form was explored in its infancy through a series of inventions that were seen more as party tricks than an artistic medium. The phenakistoscope, first named in a French newspaper in 1833, operated on a similar mechanic to the zoetrope, which was introduced as a toy for children in 1866. So I think that's what you're looking at now. Well, actually, yes, this is the phenakistoscope. This is a zoetrope. Interesting. So let's take a look at this video, Phantasmagory. Okay. 1877's Praxinoscope. Also invented in France, improved the design of the zoetrope by using mirrors and light to project the animation onto a curtain, wall, or film screen. Huh. So this may be one of the first animations. Oh my god. Like, okay, there's like clownish balloon animals and then an actual, like, person-looking person. It's kind of just like stream of consciousness. That's Mike's charity. I always do that. It was described as that. Oh, sorry about that. I was busy looking at this Praxinoscope. So this is the Praxinoscope I was talking about earlier. And yeah, I like stuff like that. That's how I used to draw. Just whatever came to mind, even if it didn't really make any sense, just draw from one thing to the next. But Phantasmagory is simply the oldest recorded cartoon to be made for film. But the art form has its roots much deeper than the 20th century. You may have also noticed from this paragraph the concentration of early animation coming from France. In my opinion, while America and Japan are producing the most popular animation in modern day, they're tied with Russia and France in terms of their relevance to the art form's development. So, next is Gertie the dinosaur. So this one can drag a little bit. So we're probably not going to watch the whole thing. Windsor McKay was one of the forefathers. Hang on, let me do this right.
Windsor McKay was one of the forefathers of modern animation, and one of the first to bridge the gap between the art form's humble beginnings as a parlor trick and the emergence... I'm not going to do this.
And the emerging art of film. The remnants, it's too crushed. You can't even hear it. The thing is, I don't even know what that sounds like. I'd have to do, like, a telephone effect. The remnants of the original reputation can be seen in Gertie the dinosaur, where Gertie, and the animated sequence as a whole, is presented as something McKay is showing to his friends in the same way one might perform a magic trick. This trend in very early film and animation is referred to as cinema of attraction, a term that describes the period when the appeal of film hinged on sheer novelty, documentation, and spectacle, rather than telling a story. Do I still have my old radio voice? No. No, that goes back a while. I could remake it. It's just about cutting the highs and lows and just, like, mid-range it. But, how's this sound, chat? I don't even know how this sounds. Wow, Gertie the dinosaur is real. Alright there, Gertie, don't eat the whole tree. Don't drink the whole lake now. That, Gertie, be a good girl and bow to the audience. It's close but not crunchy enough, if that makes sense. It does make sense. Yeah, I'm not going to try to recreate that now. But that was as close as I could get with half a minute of work. Raise your left foot. It really is. It's like... Also, it's kind of funny to see the fascination with a dinosaur in the early 1900s. 1914, excuse me. Music added by the creator of this pack, by the way. This isn't the original music. But yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of the looping animation. Gertie has like idle animations. I don't know if this had original music at the time. It probably, maybe someone was playing piano alongside of it, but... So, this was cut down... Oh, wow. Damn, Gertie. This was cut down, and it's still 7 minutes. So, again, it really is just showing the novelty of the technique of animation. And it's pretty... I mean, it's decent. For 1914, it's pretty fucking cool. Gertie, don't hurt Jumbo. What did you think of stuff like this when it first came out? Wait until you get a little older and people are like, man, what was Fortnite 1.0 like? You're ancient, bro. Ancient. Well, I for one enjoyed watching Gertie do some dancing, and I'm trying to put myself in the position of having watched that 100 years ago, over 100 years ago. I'm not that old, chat. The sinking of the Lusitania, Windsor McKay, 1918. McKay was unlucky, as he worked before the widespread adoption of cell animation that would start in the coming decades. This meant he was unable to separate the backgrounds in these films from the top layer in animation. In other words, every single frame of animation required not only a unique drawing of the characters and moving parts, but also a unique drawing of the entire background. Any animators in chat should consider themselves lucky that they don't need to work like this. This painstakingly labor-intensive style of animation can really be felt in the sinking of the Lusitania, which simply documents a real event from World War I. It's a pretty famous one. I don't know the whole story, but of course, you end up hearing it a million times. So let's learn. A dastardly deed in a dastardly way. Oh man, is that skulls in the water? Meticulously animated smoke. Kind of interesting how long it's lingering on that shot. While the lifeboats were being lowered, a second torpedo crashed into the engine rooms. This was the death blow. Yeah, I can't even imagine how time-consuming it would be. Damn. The vessel righted herself after the shock and began to sink by the bow. How far apart were this and the Titanic? I know it's very different circumstances, but I mean, two pretty famous ship sinking. 5 years, that's it? Just a couple years. Cannon fodder. Katsuhiro Otomo. 1995. It's going to end up going back in time a little bit, but we're going to go all the way to 1995. Jumping ahead a little bit, the creator of both the manga and movie Akira was called to direct a short for the 1995 anthology Memories. I have seen some of that. There's like a space one, right? There's some like really interesting like space, the magnetic rose. Okay, so I have seen some of this. His short in the anthology was noteworthy for two reasons, and in my opinion. Otomo's later work hasn't been able to recapture the global celebration he received for Akira. This isn't really a surprise, seeing how Akira, along with the work like Blade Runner, 1982, arguably invented a whole new genre, cyberpunk. Otomo's Cannon Fodder and Steam Boy are so interesting to me because they feel like the type of work that would come in a box set highlighting the greatest hits of a world-renowned director, but sadly, Otomo hasn't reached that status in the public eye. So I haven't seen this, but I can already see the Akira. Whoa. Whoa. It's a cool technique. Cannon fodder consists of one unbroken continuous shot, much like the 2019 war film 1917. To achieve this, Otomo made extremely detailed storyboards that flowed into each other like one giant scroll. Because the short was produced almost entirely analog, stitching the cuts together in a way that would maintain the look of one continuous shot was a real feat of technical prowess. I mean, there's definitely some points where you can see how they could, like, kind of fudge it a little bit. But yeah, I haven't seen much anime, but Akira is incredible. Just as a movie, as a story, as a piece of art, it's absolutely insane. I love it. This is 100% going to get DMCA'd. This entire segment is probably going to get DMCA'd pretty hard. So my only hope is it doesn't get blocked. If it gets blocked, then it's going to have to be edited. If it's demonetized, you know, once in a while it's worth it for something cool like this. But blocked I don't like. Also, another thing, you know, I didn't realize until, like, watching Akira for a while was the frame rates. And just how much additional effort had to be put into making that animation as smooth as it was. And it's here, too. This whole canon thing reminds me of Junon from Final Fantasy VII. Interesting pack though, because it's really just going all over the place time-wise. That was the fucking GoldenEye rocket launcher sound effect. Wow. Oh, that whole time I had the Blueprint soundtrack still going. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, that was incredible. Just as a piece of work. That's insane. This is very shortened. I'd highly recommend watching the whole thing on your own time. Well, I really liked the other thing I saw in Memories, so I wouldn't be opposed to it one day. Next is The Thief and the Cobbler by Richard Williams, 1982 to present. Now consider a flashing light warning. Richard Williams, who is perhaps best known as the animation director for Who Framed Roger Rabbit and the creator of The Animator's Survival Kit, was an artist whose creative vision was plagued by obstacles across his entire career. Most of his work that saw the light of day was in TV commercials. We get a little crossover with commercial chaos here. Because of his crippling habit of never finishing his passion projects. This habit was, in my informed opinion, a result of his perfectionist mindset. For example, he was famous for his strict adherence to animating everything at a full 24 FPS. Akira. Most productions only draw 12, 8, or even less unique images per second to save time and money animating on 2s and 3s or more. Williams was steadfast in his commitment to drawing full 24 unique images for every second of every project he ever directed. Animating on 1s. Whew. which gave his work a characteristically smooth appearance, but also kneecapped his relationship with his producers, and his ability to finish anything in a timely manner. So here it is. Wow. The Thief and the Cobbler was never completed according to his original vision, but after over 30 years of work, but all of its remaining footage has been stitched together by a group of dedicated fans in a project known as the Recobbled Cut. It can be watched for free on YouTube and is still being worked on to this day. I can't even imagine how long it takes to get 1 second. When you're animating on the ones for 24 frames. Probably a few days per 1 second. See, this is the stuff that makes... this kind of stuff is what makes me... like... I don't know, happy. Just to be like a human being, you know, and to like know that we existed on a planet with people like this.
You've finished Yum Yum Shoo. You've done it very well. And now she has no need of you. You put you in a cell.
Was that Vincent Price?
The camp of the One-Eyes.
Looks a lot like Genie from Aladdin.
Perhaps they'll be willing to pay my price. I'll have these barbarians kissing my feet. And maybe we'll find you something to eat. Hey, Fido? Gentlemen, what a delight to meet you all here on such a fine...
That meme image. Part of the production problems with this film was that it was compared to Aladdin. Aladdin was inspired by this, says a chat member. And then another chat member says, that's because Disney stole ideas from it. Yeah. Whoa. Whoa. Thick. Also, I was gonna say, it kind of reminded me of Clockwork Orange for a second.
Fido!
Who dares enter the camp of the mighty One-Eye?
Oh, mighty One-Eye! I am Zigzag the Great of the Golden Land.
And
I am a magician, a sorcerer too.
It's just
And I'm in
fascinating.
position, I think.
And also, just being able to work on a singular project for this long is nuts.
I conjure demons, charm beasts, and birds of prey too. Fido!
Vinny, none of this shit is true. It's all the same myth that spawned the Lion King stole Kimba meme. The truth is both cartoons are inspired by the same myths and stories from the same fucking region.
All I can do.
So now you, chat, you have a full scope of all of the arguments. Inspired, stolen, and not at all.
I have power over people.
However, the dude just looks like Genie from Aladdin.
For me, they fall like playing cards. And I...
Someone says, I choose to believe them all. Oh yeah? Well, I don't believe any of them.
But all this is nothing. For now, in my hand, is the very key to the Golden Land. For no man can take it, no matter how great, unless he possesses these 3 balls of fate.
You say you can charm beasts.
Yeah.
Throw him to the alligators.
Man. Yeah, I can't even imagine how long this took. And again, just the willpower, the constitution. You know, I'm not an animator. I tried it a little bit, but that was years and many, many years ago, using Flash. But yeah, that's crazy. Just how good that looked and how smooth it was and how much detail was going on, and just like it was all self-funded apparently, and just like the amount of in some frames effects and different like characters. It's nuts. So that brings us now to a little bit further back, The King and the Mockingbird by Paul Grimaud, 1980. Often referred to as the first surrealist animated film, The King and the Mockingbird was, similarly to The Thief and the Cobbler, stuck in development hell for over 30 years, between 1948 and 1980. This film has been cited as a major inspiration for a number of artists, including Hayao Miyazaki and his late working partner mentor, Isao Takahata. Miyazaki in particular explicitly riffs off of much of the imagery and execution of this movie in his most recent film, The Boy and the Heron, whose similarities can be seen even as clearly as what was chosen for its English title. Actually, we have Richard Williams commercials. I'm going to do that after this. The previous person. And I will show that after this. $30 years of one project. Imagine what that feels like. To finally be finished with a thing that took you 30 years to create. Sadly, they died before finishing. Man. Yeah, this is weird. Their butts are animated, like, perfectly, however.
À vos ordres, Majesté. Que se passe-t-il?
Slide whistle. That's another thing too, like to not discount the Foley. Just sound like bone-breaking noises. Wow. All right. Here's a commercial from Richard Williams, who did the previous one, Thief and the Cobbler. So, actually, here's a bunch of commercials. Hey, we'd like to hire you to make a commercial for our product, Mr. Williams. Oh yeah, sure. I'll have it to you in 2 years.
As a businessman, wouldn't you rather fly with an airline whose people aren't just trained to be relaxed, informal, and friendly?
Huh. Wow.
They're born that way. Air Canada, a breath of fresh air.
Wow, okay. Someone just said terrible airline. Dope commercial, though.
Come on, kids. If you want to grow up fast, one of these. One puff and they'll soon be in my grasp.
That's fantastic.
Not so fast, nicotine. If you want to go up fast, take one of these. With my X-ray vision, I can see the harm cigarettes do inside people's bodies. That's why I never say yes to a cigarette.
That is a fantastic... just the way he like crushes
That's why I never say yes.
the cigarettes, and it's just so like the camera. I mean, yeah, the hand he's Superman. He could crush cigarettes, but like just the camera, so to speak, is fantastic.
To a cigarette.
Hi, I'm Chicago. I have my own kind of politics, my own kind of music.
Almost sounded like Final Fantasy Chocobo music.
And when I laugh, the whole world grins. I have my own radio station, WGN. We go all day, we go all night. Anytime you want me, just tune in here or give me a call.
WGN Radio is Chicago.
Clifford is quite the bon vivant. Tonight he's
Bon vivant.
an old flame. Luckily, strong-tasting Listerine
I'm trying to think
antiseptic
if I've seen any of
the
these.
germs that can cause bad breath.
Whether it be commercial chaos or just in my life.
Listerine can also kill germs that form
I was
plaque.
real young for some of these. Or just not born.
Listerine antiseptic mouthwash.
Hello.
Whoa, dude.
Strong enough to take your breath away.
Oh, Rolo. Can you draw stereos?
Uh-huh.
Great. Can you draw girls?
Girls? No problem.
Would you like my last Rolo?
Rolo. Soft, creamy toffee in a milk chocolate cup.
Can you draw the blind?
Do you love anyone enough to give me the last Rolo?
No, that's an order from the top, chat. They're always like, hey, make it, do the thing. But I was going to say, I was fascinated by that gag when I was younger, and still am to a degree, but just the idea of the animator being in the animation, like the hand drawing the stuff, I always liked that.
Mini cheddars, mini cheddars, mini cheddars.
I want to say his talent is just being wasted, but yeah, he's making some bank probably, some cheddar.
Mini cheddars, 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 mini cheddars.
New mini cheddars. If you like cheese, you'll love these.
Well, I hope he got paid well for this, because that's just incredible. This is how we bankrolled Thief for a while, just doing commercials. That also probably delayed Thief, right? Because at that point, you're making these incredibly elaborate and detailed high frame rate animations, so very interesting. All right, next is Treasure Island. David Cherkasky, 1988. This obscure Soviet animation for children rose to prominence in the summer of 2022 because of an edit featuring its characters. Huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, chat, you're going to know exactly what this is. This is a weird experience for me as a student taking a class on animation history at the time, seeing something so obscure become so popular. Those who are familiar with the meme wherein Dr. Livesey scolds the viewer for drinking rum might not know how large of a role this aspect played in the film as a whole. The film was actually a state-sponsored anti-drug and alcohol PSA. In between the animated segments, which loosely retold the events of the 1883 book by Robert Louis Stevenson, the film included live-action music videos, featuring a band that would sing songs about how the young audience should never smoke or drink. So you'll immediately know, alright, it's a painting. I'll show you, chat, I'll show you the actual thing that became the meme. 3.2 million views from 2 years ago. Yeah. I don't know what the music is, but it's just that for a while. And then, you know, I was like wondering what the hell this was, because like I remember just seeing a whole bunch of like animations of like random characters like Sand Undertale or whoever. Just like, you know, Han, Luke, and Leia, you know, name it, you pick. And it's just them doing that. I'm like, what? Solid Snake. Yeah, I saw the Solid Snake one. That was a pretty famous one. Sam Undertale. Yeah, that's him. Sam. Here's the Treasure Island. This is the music video where they redo you know, Treasure Island, but they tell you don't smoke. Next, we're going back to the past a little bit, and this one's from Norman McLaren, 1958, The Blackbird. The National Film Board of Canada was and continues to be one of the most generous and only institutions in North America who is responsible for funding the art of animation. After the golden age of animation that the United States experienced in the early 20th century, many studios had to cut costs, and many even completely disappeared. Fleischer Studios, the largest original competitor to Disney's animation studios and the creator of the first cartoons featuring Betty Boop, Coco the Clown, Popeye, and Superman, along with the original rotoscope, went defunct in 1942. There was a Superman, this is a personal aside, but there was a Superman animation that was fascinating that they played on the cartoon channels when I was a kid. And it was the same one, and the animation was really, really good. And I'm wondering, like, I'm assuming it was just the Fleischer one. Superman punching the laser. I think that's the one, yeah. So, yeah, I think that one was the one that I was most familiar with. And I was like, why aren't there more of these? Okay. The rotoscope was a device that let animators draw over a pre-existing live-action film. The patent was exclusively held by Fleischer for a while, but is now widespread and still practiced today. So here's the rotoscope. This thinning of the crowd, along with more overarching hardships such as the Great Depression and World War II, made room for more cost-effective animation studios in the mid-century, such as UPA and Hanna-Barbera. Many Hanna-Barbera characters were designed to have easily replaceable parts to cut costs, with things like neckties and 5 o'clock shadows that separated their heads into distinct pieces. It's like when you notice it, you can't unnotice it. I mean, Tom from Tom and Jerry doesn't really have anything, but yeah, I mean, it's otherwise fairly noticeable. But this is another set. Like, I grew up watching a lot of older cartoons, not even realizing sometimes until I got a little bit older that they were from like the 70s or, you know, 60s even. But or earlier, to be fair. I mean, I just like the cartoons. Meanwhile, while the USA was struggling to keep its animated traditions alive, other countries that cared more about funding their arts, like our neighbors up north, thrived. That's why, in my opinion, the mid-century work that came from the NFB is so interesting. It shows that great animation can be produced anywhere at any time, as long as artists are given the freedom and resources to make it. So, anyway, that brings us back to the blackbird. And this is Norman McLaren. Blackbird singing in the dead of heaven. I don't know if you want to see this in full. It's only like 5 minutes, but I'm really curious. So remember, this is from the National Film Board of Canada. And I believe this is rotoscoped. I think that's the point that was trying to be made there.
Mon merle a perdu son bec. Ah, mon merle a perdu son bec. Tiens, un bec, deux becs, trois becs, Marlot.
Wait, how would this be rotoscoped? Did they make a bird just do like acrobatics? Could have just turned a bird into a human. Well, I mean opposite.
Mon merle a perdu sa tête. Non. Une tête, deux têtes, trois têtes, un œil, deux yeux, trois yeux, un bec, deux becs, trois becs, Marlot. Comment veux-tu mon merle, comment veux-tu mon merle chanter? Comment veux-tu mon merle, comment veux-tu mon merle chanter? Mon merle a perdu son cou. Où? Mon merle a perdu son cou. Où? Un coup, deux coups, trois coups, une tête, deux têtes, trois têtes, un œil, deux yeux, trois yeux, un bec, deux becs, trois becs, Marlot.
And we get to hear French music. I've never heard French, ever. I'm kidding. Ah, the French.
Comment veux-tu mon merle, comment veux-tu mon merle chanter? Comment veux-tu mon merle, comment veux-tu mon merle chanter?
They're not saying merde, are they?
Mon merle a perdu son dos. Quand? Un dos, deux dos, trois dos, une fa, deux fa, trois fa, un coup, deux coups, trois coups, une tête, deux têtes, trois têtes, un œil, deux yeux, trois yeux, un bec, deux becs, trois.
The music is just as fascinating as the animation to me. Holy shit. Give me 1 second, chat. Hang on.
Mon merle a perdu ses ailes. Mon merle a perdu ses ailes. Tiens, tiens, tiens. Une aile, deux ailes, trois ailes, un dos, deux dos, trois dos, une fa, deux fa, trois fa, un coup, deux coups, trois coups, une tête, deux têtes, trois têtes, un œil, deux yeux, trois yeux, un bec, deux becs, trois becs, Marlot. Comment veux-tu mon merle, comment veux-tu mon merle chanter? Comment veux-tu mon merle, comment veux-tu mon merle chanter? Mon merle a perdu sa queue.
Yeah, it's interesting. Again, I don't know if rotoscoping was related to this specifically. Might have just been an aside, or maybe this used some, but regardless, it's interesting and it's minimal, but it's just kind of hypnotizing to watch. And again, 1958. This must have been really cool to catch for the first time.
bout, trois coups, une tête, deux têtes, trois têtes, un œil, deux yeux, trois yeux, un bec, deux becs, trois becs, Marlowe. Comment veux-tu, mon bel, comment veux-tu, mon bel, chanter? Comment veux-tu, mon bel, comment veux-tu, mon bel, chanter?
Bird. Interesting. Okay. Next is Rudy, Toot Toot by John Hubley, 1951. All that being said, I don't mean to give the impression that the USA wasn't making any good work at all during the mid-century. UPA found ways to produce very detailed and expressive animation in spite of their shoestring budget. I don't have much to say about this one, but I want to draw attention to the way that both the bold colors, expressions, and blocking all pick up the slack of the rougher animation style. I think the sense of musicality in this one is really nice. I believe that young independent animators on the internet could learn a lot from the pragmatism on display in UPA's body of work. So John Hubley, 1951. Let's see. Alright, so this one's like 7 minutes, so I'm going to be skipping around a little bit. But we'll take a look at it.
Just as true as the stars above, he was a man, but he done wrong. Johnny stepped down on his Frankie.
The people versus Frankie.
Frankie came down to the courtroom.
That is actually very cool style.
Her lawyer was Jonathan the Bailey, known as Honest John the Crook. He was the man who was gonna prove that people were wrong.
I can see why the word pragmatism was used.
Your Honor, we've had enough histrionics. It's an open and shut.
It's got like a beatnik kind of. Maybe that's not the right word, but that's the first one that comes to mind.
Frankie and Johnny were sweethearts, and all over town it was known. And then one day he came in without Frankie.
Yeah, I like the paint splatter backgrounds a lot, actually. That's very inspiring. Just like line art and a bunch of like splatters.
So I quietly slipped her the info. He's out back with Nellie Bly.
Probably watercolor. I'd love to see that in a game. I probably have somewhere.
Rudy Toot Toot. Rudy Toot Toot. Right in the snoot.
Sponge.
Your witness. No.
Singer of sweet melody.
Whoa.
She's no singer.
Please.
I've heard worse. I was
Yeah, the bold colors too. Like they paint a picture quite literally.
But only to rehearse. Johnny seemed just a little bit nervous. He had seen Frankie's temper before.
And now he's dead. All right, well, thanks for watching, everyone. Frankie died. And good night. Okay, now he's dead.
Toot toot when Frankie's done right through that hardwood door.
Oh, no.
She shot him. What we would do now.
She shot her man.
Man, people just dying left and right in this cartoon. Holy shit. But yeah, I think that's the paint splatter might be sponge. I think that chat member was correct. That's really, really a great. I like that.
For the truth, without compunction.
That's a great way to do that.
Function.
Wait, is Frankie gonna get shot dead again? No, this is a different guy. She'd be killing.
Ipso facto. Status quo. I rest my case.
Wrong to shoot.
If you want to see the whole thing and actually understand what you're looking at, it's Rudy Toot Toot by John Hubley, or Hubley, 1951. So, sorry to skip ahead, but I have a couple more I want to get to. But that's you got the idea of the style. It's really cool. Next is The Old Lady and the Pigeons. No, it's not. Next is Labyrinthos by Rintaro, 1987. Or Rintaro. Another 3-part animated anthology from Japan, Labyrinthos by Rintaro, aka Shigeyuki Hayashi. Interests me because it's of European flair. It's hard to summarize, but the character designs, music, and quirky darkness remind me of French and Soviet animation that was coming out around the same time as this. It's odd to see this kind of expressionistic work find success in Japan, especially around the time it came out, when most popular work was leaning on either cuteness, the work of Hayao Miyazaki and Ranma Half, Ranma Half, and Urusei Yatsura, creator of Rumiko Takahashi. I know these things, I'm sure. Or action, Dragon Ball, Space Battleship, Yamato, etc. at the time. I'm also just a huge fan of the aesthetic and music of this one. So here it is. Actually, we could do the Hubley commercial.
Tenderoni, Van Camp. Tenderoni, Van Camp.
So this is the previous one we watched. This is their work in a commercial. This is a cool... I feel like this is a cool thing that hasn't been...
Tenderoni, made with egg whites. Cooked
really,
in 7 minutes.
this style hasn't been utilized a whole lot. It hasn't really made a comeback.
Tenderoni, Van Camp. Tenderoni, Van Camp.
It reminds me only a little bit of the Off-Peak game, or like Tales from Off-Peak City, like that kind of, again, beatnik, jazzy kind of thing. I just think it's cool. So here's Labyrinthos. And remember, this is from Rintaro from 1987. Whoa. This is already insane. I mean, of course she has a cat with her. That's sapient. I can see the European style here. Oh, wow. I was gonna say something like that. That's some fucking weird shit to draw upon for inspiration for a game. But then I remembered Ina Dream Barbecue kind of has stuff like that a little bit. Salvatore Dali. Yep. Don't look at the clown. Look at the clown. Oh my god. Again, there's a lot of, like, stuff happening. Like, in Akira, when, the monster segment, with the meat and the flesh and the tendrils and the tubes. Like, I can't even imagine how long that took to animate. Tetsuo. I don't trust that clown. I don't trust these performers. Someone said this has been such food for an animation nut and working artist. Thank you so much, Vinny. You know what? One, you don't have to thank me. You can thank the person who made the pack, which is Acornwellian. And two, I don't animate, but I'm inspired by this. Like, I'm seeing stuff here that is actually genuinely interesting and inspiring to me. So, next is that one. That one maybe was my favorite of the night, almost. Possibly, because that one was just really just bizarre and dark, but also just, I don't know. It's its own thing. Old Lady and the Pigeons, Sylvain Chomet, 1997. Might be saying these names wrong, but they are one of the most prolific French animators of our times, and definitely the most French. His work emphasizes a legacy of ugliness that can be seen throughout the history of Franco-Belgian comics and animation. The Old Lady and the Pigeon marked his directorial debut in 1997, which was followed by 2003's The Triplets of Belleville, which was the first French film to be nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars, only the second foreign film after Miyazaki's Spirited Away in 2001. His art style was noticed by the Simpsons team, who hired him to create a couch gag, which was first seen in the 2014 episode Diggs. Oh, that era of Simpson. Accordion? Yeah, definitely the most French. Love the colors. Pigeons! I forget that pigeons are a fairly universal thing and are also very associated with France, and not just New York. Yeah, this is the most French. Holy shit. New York ripped off pigeons. I mean, they're fucking everywhere. Flying rats, sky rats. I actually take offense to that. Pigeons are nice. See, that's a pigeon fan. Spin. Amazing. Yeah, that was really cool. And here's the couch gag.
Oh, stupid fuse.
Oh no, Marge!
Maggie! Oi, Maggie! Maggie!
Oh boy, Julie Kavanaugh was even 2014 was sounding kind of rough. Jeez. The accordion. Just eats a full snail. I mean, yeah, that is the most French Simpsons couch gag. That sure was a thing. That sure was a thing. Please rewind to Homer's Dumpy. I don't think I will. The Overcoat by Yuri Norstein, unfinished. Considered to be Russian animator Yuri Norstein's masterpiece, The Overcoat was sadly abandoned. The footage shown here is a compilation of clips stitched together from the documentary footage, with music added by me, not me, but them, but not me, but me. Norstein preferred to work using paper cutouts, which is a style of animation prone to a sense of stiffness. This is what makes The Overcoat and his other work so impressive. He's able to squeeze a supernatural degree of flexibility, texture, and expression out of unmoving scraps of paper. He began working on the film in 1984, and claimed in early 2007 that the film would be finished by the end of that same year. It wasn't. And now, in 2025, the fact that it still hasn't been fully released makes it the record holder for the longest production cycle of any animated film in history. 1984 to now, 41 years, a year older than me. Paper. Yeah, that is weird. That movement. Oh man, man, that's fucking almost like disturbing. I don't know. I just got a visceral reaction watching that. I don't know. Oh, I've shown my fair share of Sunday stream Russian animation, and some of it is just really, really like out there. This is so weirdly 3D looking. I mean, the bitrate's not great. It's very crusty. I kind of wish the quality was a little higher or a lot higher, but I mean, yeah, there's so much expression happening and pain. How much does the bread cost? It's also in some scenes a little bit too dark to see what's even happening. What year is this? This is 1984 to now, but it's never been finished. So you might be seeing scenes that are several years apart in terms of when they were created. So this might be 1984. You might see something in a minute that's 1990. Yeah, it's just so. It's just the expression is 100% there, and it's again very three-dimensional. Someone said before that there's a lot of humanity. I think that is a great way to describe this, uncomfortable as it may be. Man. Someone says this is what being the oldest in your friend group feels like. Also, the music kind of fits here, and the I don't know this strange old lonely man just really paints a picture. You can kind of he's just doing very mundane things, and it's like the most boring shit you could be doing, and yet it's just impossible to stop watching. Someone said this is how I imagine you prepare for a Sunday stream, something like that. Again, that just looks 3D. It looks that is really really cool. Some really interesting pieces of animation here tonight, chat. Just as a bonus, here's a cannon fodder storyboard. Here's the animator's survival kit, as discussed earlier. And also a working praxinoscope. So I learned a lot, and I was definitely inspired, and I think that's fantastic. Thank you for watching this, chat members. This is an interesting thing for me to discover some of this. A Cornwellian, thank you. I don't mind doing some insane Sunday stream stuff if it's available. Just whatever dumb random shit we can find. But I really like this. And I'm glad that there are... I know it's late. I know that it's like nearly 2 in the morning. But the fact that there's over 8,000 people here, half are asleep probably. But the fact that there's so many people here watching me talk about and seeing these animations for the first time is really cool. So I'm glad that I get to do shit like this once in a while, because I think this is something that I'm surprised at how much I enjoy it when it's done by someone who is as knowledgeable as this chat member who made this. Or, for example, the UFO stuff was a lot of fun. The sea life stuff was great. We still have a part 3 to do for that. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people have suggested different ideas for educational segments. You know, an hour, hour and a half, that's the perfect amount of time. Anything more than that, and I would start to get a little bit antsy, but I think between an hour and an hour and a half is great. There's a pack on the horizon, for example, about what people thought dinosaurs looked like before they had, you know, all of the bones put together properly and all of the science, and some just fucked up homunculi dinosaur creatures from like hundreds of years ago or 100 years ago, whatever. So that should be interesting. That's just an example of one. And there's plenty more. I mean, there's still more UFO shit that I haven't done, and weird sounds and hoaxes, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff in this world that's just fun to learn about. Animation, I didn't fully expect to enjoy this as much as I did. I thought I would like it, but I really liked it. So maybe there would be more of stuff like this. This is going to be your most claimed segment of all time, but it was interesting. Well, I'll tell you what. If this gets mega claimed, you will know tomorrow. That's the end of the stream. Thank you for watching today, chat. I hope you enjoyed. And I really appreciate all of the continued support and viewership. Thank you, mods, as always, for helping me out on the stream. And yeah, and anyone who submits Sunday stream stuff, it's really helpful, and it keeps things going. So take care, good night, and I'll see you next time. This week, we're going to do Oblivion, RimWorld, more Mario Kart, stuff like that. And tomorrow, by the way, that's right, tomorrow is an early stream, afternoon, like 1 p.m. Eastern. I forgot about that entirely, so I'll be around earlier tomorrow, because I have practice late. So, all right. Bye.
Attention, if you've been using a Cinco diarrhea fram, you may be suffering from a rare but serious side effect, diarrhea-betes, and you may be entitled to a very small cash settlement. Hello, I'm Corbin Burnson from the TV show LA Law. These days, I also happen to be an amateur lawyer. Diarrhea-betes can result from a massive buildup of diarrhea, which begins secreting itself through pores in the skin. Diarrhea simply has no place else to go. Signs of diarrhea-betes are brown sweat, general bad odor, bad breath, brown mucus,